Welcome to today's Corporate Venturing Insider series. Today, I'm very excited to have Sara Wallin from Chalmers Venture. You're going to be sharing with us how innovation can come from university and entrepreneurs. Sara, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So as we always start in this series, we start by asking the personal journey that led you to where you are today. So do you mind taking maybe a few minutes to share about your journey?
Sure. I think my career journey has been quite a mix of planned steps and lucky twists. So before I joined Chalmers Ventures, at the beginning of my career, I was on quite a ride with various tech startups. And then I turned the table and had a stint as the CEO of a government-owned bank that put money in all sort of small Swedish businesses. And that job gave me a bird's eye view of a bunch of different companies. And I actually found out that a bunch of the coolest companies in Sweden had their beginnings at Chalmers, Chalmers Technical University. And by cool companies, I mean ones that could make a ton of money, but also tackle big global issues at the same time. So when a recruiter asked me if I wanted to take on this role, I didn't hesitate. And let me tell you, I haven't looked back. Honestly, I think I've got one of the most interesting jobs in all of Sweden.
Very nice. And I can imagine how diverse backgrounds leads to these impactful roles. So maybe you can share the experiences and lessons along the journey that has been especially helpful for this current role.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I've had the privilege of sitting on both sides of the table as an entrepreneur and as someone managing capital. And this dual perspective has given me an invaluable understanding of what both parties need, which helps me bridge gaps and foster strong partnerships, I think. Also, having navigated through different economic cycles and dived into various industries, I've gathered insights that prove incredibly useful in steering the ship at Chalmers Ventures. It's like having a treasure chest of real-world knowledge to draw from. But you know, the most, I think, significant lesson I've learned is about my own strengths and weaknesses. And I've come to realize that I can't move the needle on my own. I need the support of a strong team. And luckily, I'm surrounded by fantastic colleagues who makes up our team. And I know that I wouldn't stand a chance without their expertise and dedication. So it's a true team effort that propels us forward.
Very nice. And I'll go back later about the treasure chest of the up and downs experience.
Yeah.
But let's touch on the teamwork and the collaboration, which is so important for innovation.
Yeah.
If you think back about your career, what are the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Collaboration is crucial. And let me tell you about a challenge that really rocked my world. About 7-8 years ago, I was hit with some heavy news that I got cancer. And I've always been bursting with energy and used to exceeding expectations. But suddenly I found myself facing a different battle, undergoing chemotherapy treatments that drained all the energy I once had. It was an incredible tough period, and one that showed me that immense importance of having a supporting family and true friends who stick around regardless of what role you might play in the future. And during this time, I also learned that the value of building an organization that it isn't reliant on a single individual. So it became clear that creating a strong team and a resilient structure is crucial. And luckily, I had both a loving family and a resilient group of friends and colleagues who stepped up in an incredible way. And they really carried me through, allowing me to emerge from this challenge. with even more energy and determination to make a difference with the time I still invest in my work, because I love to work. So my biggest challenge was also a reminder of the strength of unity and the power of resilience, I think.
Wow. So maybe here I want to first, I didn't know about all of this, so I want to double click a little bit, especially on the angle of work-life balance.
Yeah.
I mean, you're clearly accomplished, you're very ambitious, you say you love to work, but clearly this happened, and that probably put different perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share how you thought about work-life balance before, then, and how you help your team actually to find that balance, or maybe you can't, and it's very hard. I'm not sure.
I think that's why you have to have a team, because every now and then your life give you lemons, and it happens to all of us, and then you need to step back, and you need to have others who can step up instead. So I think that's what I learned, and also that I'm happy to step up if another team member has a challenge. I think it happens to all of us, and that we are open with our challenges and what's happening also in a private life, and that we help each other as team members.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Let's transition on Chalmers Ventures. Maybe you can introduce Chalmers and then Chalmers Ventures initiative within that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So Chalmers Technical University is Sweden's only private technical university, and I would say also one of the most entrepreneurial universities in Europe, and that's why Chalmers created Chalmers Ventures. And at Chalmers Ventures, I believe we have one of Sweden's most crucial missions, leading an organization with a vision to become a global frontrunner in nurturing research and knowledge-based growth companies, or deep tech companies, that contribute to a sustainable society and a competitive industry. So Chalmers Ventures focuses on investing in innovative tech startups with a scalable potential on the international stage and led by entrepreneurial teams. And we're really proud to be Sweden's most active early stage deep tech investor. And our track record speaks volumes. We've earned the prestigious title of being ranked as the #1 VC in the Nordics.
Wow.
And we also secured a spot in the top 10 university incubators globally.
Very.
And our specialty lies in nurturing this tech-based ideas with growth potential that are rooted in Swedish technical research. And we offer various entrepreneurial programs designed to transform these ideas into thriving businesses. So we initiate this journey with small investments in exchange for minor stakes in the companies. And we collaborate closely with some of the brightest brains in Sweden, researchers, students, and alumni entrepreneurs, primarily from Chalmers, but also from other Swedish universities and industry partners. And if you like, I can certainly provide more insights into some of our prominent programs, Nicolas.
Actually, maybe a first clarification, which is, do you only engage with spin-offs of the university, or even people who are not associated with Chalmers could be supported by your programs?
Our main focus is university spin-outs from Swedish universities. And since we are owned by Chalmers and are a part of the Chalmers University, it's our closest gold mine, I would say. So we find really great ideas within Chalmers, but we can also work with other Swedish universities and also ideas from industry partners or outside Chalmers.
Yeah,
since we are a private university.
At very high level, Sweden is known for amazing startups. So maybe we start from Sweden, and then I want to go and deep dive onto your programs.
Yeah.
So tell me more about, because we have this from the outside, this impression of Sweden being very tech-friendly, very innovative. It's a small country, so it has to go international very quickly and very ambitious. But can you share what you think today's Swedish entrepreneurs look like and how we should think about investing in them?
So I think Sweden is really it stands out in the world, just as you said, and our innovation game in Sweden is on fire. And I think it's for some very unique reasons. We have this rich science and engineering tradition, and we have a population that's inherently curious and change ready. And many of us have a mission for the green transition.
Yes.
And we have a robust open education system anchored by prestigious technical university. And there's also the strong bond with research-driven industry and influential families like the Wallenbergs who champion research initiatives. And of course, as you mentioned, we have really amazing entrepreneurs that have become role models and rock stars in Sweden, I would say.
And on top of that, and this is maybe my impression, you can confirm, but these rock stars then reinvest inside Sweden for more innovations. And then you get this ecosystem and this cycle.
Yeah, they reinvest, and also the top key management and early employed in these companies, they spin out, they start their own companies. So they both create funding for new startups in Sweden, but also the competence to build a company, I think.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So now let's go back to Chalmers Ventures and maybe your programs and how it fits into the corporate venture capital landscape.
Yeah. So when it comes to our program, one of our flagship initiatives is tailored for researchers who are keen to actively participate in the commercialization of their research findings. And we fund patent applications, we offer expert guidance and support them as strategic partners throughout the commercialization process of promising early stage research. And through collaborative discussions, we address crucial aspects like ownership, patents, IP, customer engagement, and agreements. And often this journey creates a startup company or a licensing agreement. And then there is our tech matching program, which acts as a bridge to commercialize innovative text concepts. So we do this by aligning these tech ideas with driven entrepreneurs in our network. So these ideas can, as I mentioned before, originate from breakthrough research, from project development, or even from outside the core business of our industrial partners. And we match the tech ideas with a dedicated team, either from Chalmers School of Entrepreneurship, that's a master program at Chalmers, or our extensive network of entrepreneurs within Chalmers Ventures. And then working closely together, the tech innovator and the entrepreneurial team assess the feasibility of turning the tech into a full startup or full venture. And when the outlook is promising, we initiate our initial investment in the tech ID, which then becomes a part of our award-winning program. And then as the startup progresses, we can also provide follow-on investments, potentially extending up to Series A funding. So it's all about fostering innovation and turning brilliant ideas from the lab benches into successful ventures.
Very nice. So there are two places I want to double click. The first one, which is so difficult to do, which is matching good ideas with good entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Can you share some best practices of how to do it well, from probably learning on when it doesn't work well? So anything you can share to our audience about matching ideas with entrepreneurs?
Yeah, it's of course it's quite difficult, and I think it's hard to share that secret how we do it. We have actually tried in different ecosystems in Sweden. We have tried to share our way to do it, but it's really the expertise among our team members to see this researcher and of course the tech knowledge and match it with an entrepreneur with business knowledge and also see can I develop this researcher to become an entrepreneur? What is the goal for the researcher? And then match with another business team member, or do the researcher want to continue the academic career and we want to match the researcher with a full-blood entrepreneur who can take the CEO role and try to find the match and find people who can work together. I think that's the hardest thing in the matchmaking progress.
And maybe I would share an observation, and you can tell me if I'm totally off or not. But I feel like today's researchers are quite different from the researchers we had 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
and they are much more open to actually go out and deploy their research versus just moving on onto the next paper.
Yeah, I agree. More and more researchers they want to make a difference. And they see that they can make a difference if they take their research and actually build ventures around it to make a difference out there. Because it's when it reached the market that it's really solving the problems that it can solve.
Very nice. And then the second thing I wanted to double click is the follow investments. You mentioned you can do it in Series A, but not all the time. Yeah. So can you walk us through the thought process for when you decide to follow versus when you decide not to follow?
Yeah, so we put up milestones together with the portfolio companies and we follow them closely. We are also active board members and coach them in different ways. And sometimes they develop faster than we think, and then it's no problem to do this follow-on investments. Yep. But sometimes they fail, and that's a part of the startup world, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so in a way, if you're happy with the progress and maybe better than expected, that's when you would follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Correct. So it's a positive signal when they receive follow from Chalmers Ventures. It's like
it is, but also I can also sometimes, since we have a quite small fund and we start 10 companies every year. We have 100 companies in our portfolio, and the fund is not large enough to always follow on, even in the interesting cases. Yeah. So we have to choose, and sometimes our syndicate partners take a larger part, and that's okay with us also, because we are still with the company and follow their progress.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah. So maybe we can be very concrete. Can you share maybe the latest investments you made, and given the audience we have today, with a CVC?
Yeah, sure. So buckle up. Let's dive into our latest collaboration that I think beautifully showcases the power of Chalmers Ventures partnership with CVCs. Enter Adsorbi, a standout in the realm of air purification and a proud member of our portfolio. And this collaboration is a harmonious blend of expertise and resources, because Adsorbi's journey began with pioneering research into indoor air quality in museums conducted at Chalmers University of Technology. And this research birthed a game-changing cellulose-based air purification material, setting the stage for innovation. And here's where the magic of CVC unfolds. So enter Metsä Spring, an integral player within Finnish Metsä Group, who is a renewed force in the forest-based circular bioeconomy. So Metsä Spring is charged with nurturing fresh business ideas that enrich Metsä Group's ecosystem, functioning as an innovation incubator. And in 2021, Meta Spring role involved with the group R&D function, designed to bolster R&D activities aligned with Meta Group's core areas. It's about tapping into Meta Group's strengths while driving innovation forward. And in the case of Adsorbi, Meta Spring recognized the potential of their cellulose-based air purification material and its transformative impact. So collaborating strategically, Meta Spring and Chalmers Ventures now provide support, both funding and strategic direction. And as a first step, we just closed a seed funding round of 360K, fueling Adsorbi's research and also product exploration and sales. And this collaboration goes beyond capital. It fuses innovation with strategic guidance from Meta Spring's expertise and also Meta Group's vibrant ecosystem. And that's why we at Chalmers Ventures love to partner up with CVCs.
Very, very nice. So maybe the question is, did you find them, or was it the startup finding them? I mean, how did you build a syndicate?
Yeah, so they are actually a supplier to another portfolio company of us. So I think they already knew about Chalmers Ventures and our portfolio, and they were all already interested in our companies. And then the research was from this startup who saw the synergies. So they knew about Chalmers and Chalmers Ventures and the portfolio, but the actual closing is always from the startup and the team.
And how much the fact that Chalmers Ventures was investing helped them to decide?
I think it was crucial, actually.
Good, very nice.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, the example you give, but I think your portfolio also speaks to the same, is the environmental factors really matter in your decision.
Yeah,
Can you walk through what really matters for you to decide to invest? Clearly environmental, but maybe more?
Yeah, it's really a hot topic for Chalmers Ventures. Of course, there are all these basic criteria that all VCs look at. It's the same for us. But just the environmental factors is a hot topic for Chalmers Ventures team, and our main focus. Startups tackling environmental issues are like superheroes of the business world, and they're not just chasing profits, they're also solving global puzzles. And we're all about supporting these change makers, making the world greener, and one startup at a time.
One startup at a time, but one planet. So maybe it's a good transition to my next question, which is, you're the deputy chair of the Swedish Agency for Economic and Regional Growth.
Mm-hmm.
Again, within that context of one planet, how do you think Sweden compares to European peers and even globally?
So I think we are really a trailblazer when it comes to this green transition, no doubt. And I think we use our innovation, our blend of education, research, and innovation to solve different problems. And we have really great strength when it comes to the innovation area in this segment. But I also see challenges, of course. We need to keep fueling research. We need to fostering international ties, and also navigating the regulation dance. So I think it's a mixed bag of strengths and challenges when it comes to Swedish innovation and how we can be a part of solving the global problems of today's world.
And that's why I was so interested to interview you, because I think Sweden and Chalmers Ventures, and being at the very early stage of innovation and research, gives an opportunity for real breakthrough. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a bit more about how these challenges you see could be overcome by having such an early support for very fragile innovation?
Yeah, I think really, as I said, Sweden's innovation game is on fire, and I think it's for some very unique reasons. We have this rich science and engineering tradition. And I think what's our challenge is to take the innovation from lab to market. And I think this latest year's creating of entrepreneur rock stars is what fueling now to take these new innovations all the way to market and take them international so fast. And I think also like Chalmers Venture, I see Chalmers Venture's role in this vibrant canvas. We serve as a bridge, the missing link that takes sparks from the labs and transforms them into breathtaking business fireworks. So we orchestrate the convergence of academia, startups, and industry, and creating this dynamic hub where ideas become tangible. So we are the transformers of what if into what's next.
I like that.
Yeah.
So clearly Sweden is also very different in terms of how professors, academia works, IP works, and there's this concept of professor privilege.
Yeah.
Can you share how the significance of it within Sweden, but also Chalmers Ventures?
Yeah. Now hold on to your hat. It's a game changer, I think. So professors, researchers, and even PhD students own their intellectual property in Sweden, not the university. Yeah. So it's like getting ownership right from your brain sparks. And professor's privilege is a cornerstone of our innovation landscape that sets us apart, as you just said. Especially considering how we at Chalmers Ventures must remain competitive in our offerings. So unlike many universities in other countries, we don't automatically own the IP generated by our researchers. That scientists can choose to continue their academic journey while simultaneously contributing to their startups. It's an unparalleled advantage that lets them nurture their technology while building their ventures. So imagine this, a researcher still rooted in their academic role, working in tandem with us and the entrepreneurs we've carefully matched to the venture. So it's a harmony of skills and knowledge where the researchers' ongoing work in their field seamlessly integrates with the growth of their company. And this dynamic collaboration fuels innovation on multiple fronts, I think.
And I always like to think as an ecosystem. So with this very special and advantageous setup for professors, you do need something like Chalmers Ventures to be able to invest where if it was an American VC, they may not feel like it has enough IP and protections to be able to invest. So can you talk a little bit about how this very special setup allows for Chalmers Ventures to then do the bridge to the next round?
I think it's we are actually working really close to the researchers, and we can work together with them for sometimes 2 years to inspire them to actually build ventures around their research, because they are really into the academic world and they are not thinking about ventures. And then we can also make it easy for them to build ventures together with us through this matchmaking process. I think that's a key fact that we are contributing to get the research from the lab and out and build ventures. And then, of course, we take a stake in the company and also ownership of the IP. And we also structure the company so it's investable for other VCs. And also we open doors to our syndicate partners, investor partners.
Yeah. So at TDK Ventures, we are also this kind of patient capital. And we have one example where we invested in one company that was started by Professor Yan Wang, which is doing very, very well. And we invested in his next company that he founded,
Yeah.
One is ascend element, one is AM battery, from the same professor, the same type of innovation seeking. So I think I have a very positive bias towards what you're doing, because you're allowing this research, fundamental research, to be deployed.
Yeah. And we also have these serial inventors from the researchers, and it's great because then they also learn how to build ventures together with us.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the researchers in Sweden, but how do you attract international researchers?
So Chalmers is really an international environment with many international researchers, but I don't think many of the researchers around the world knows about this professor's privilege. And I think if they knew it, it should be a magnet for even more global thinkers. So because we were saying, hey, you can keep your brainchild and build a business with it. Yeah. So I think international researchers should see the freedom to innovate while retaining their IP rights. It should be a dream for anyone who wants to turn bright ideas into thriving ventures to work here at Chalmers in Sweden. And many knows it, and it attracts them. But I also know that it's many who doesn't know about it.
No, I think it's a golden nugget for our audience, which sometimes involves entrepreneurs and researchers, to know this is a really advantageous system, which really nurtures innovation and collaboration. So I want to delve a little deeper into Chalmers Ventures evergreen model, which you haven't mentioned yet, but I think this is something you plan to do or you're already doing, which would give you sustainability. So can you talk about your evergreen model?
Yeah, so our evergreen model embodies a cycle of success. When one startup flourishes, it become the stepping stone for the next one. And our model bears resemblance to what's witnessed at distinguished American universities like MIT or Stanford, albeit on a more modest scale thus far for us, of course.
For now.
For now. But we're well on our way to establish a robust investment engine centered around Chalmers, one that I think stands out in Europe. And even in conversations with smaller universities in the US, I sense a shared desire for similar opportunities that we are building here at Chalmers. And the long-term goal with our Evergreen Fund is to amass returns of such magnitude that we can further amplify revolutionary technology research that holds the promise of tackling global challenges that resonates across both the world and industries. So our evergreen model, beyond its financial prowess, encapsulates our commitment to innovation with a lasting impact. It's a testament, I think, to our dedication, not just to startups present, but to their future and the ripple effect they create. So by creating a self-sustaining ecosystem, we're enabling startups to reach new heights and in turn sowing the seeds for groundbreaking solutions that can transform the world. So I think this is Chalmers Ventures' legacy, a cycle of empowerment that echoes far beyond startups' immediate journey.
Very nice. And if you think about an evergreen fund, clearly it's about recycling the success into new investments. But do you still welcome more limited partners to join in, or is it like a closed fund?
Right now, it's like a closed fund, but we are discussing if other would like to join, and then they have to be also joining in our vision with the capital, I think. So for the moment, we are working with collaboration with syndicate partners. We always syndicate with other investors. But maybe in the future, we could also open up our fund.
Yeah, a deeper partnership with those you already enjoy working with, who share the same mission.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And you? How do you work with the evergreen structure?
We really like evergreen structure because they typically are mission driven and they are patient capital. So they are capable to invest more for the long term.
Yeah.
They're also capable to invest earlier stage.
Yeah.
So for me, the evergreen fund structure allows for more patient. Actually, for me, I like to say it's a combination of being patient and impatient. When we talk about sustainability and when we talk about a greener planet, we should be patient. We should start now.
Yeah.
But we know it will take a long time, and therefore it should apply patient capital.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So let's talk about secrets. What do you think is a secret sauce beyond what we've discussed already and your success?
Yeah, I think the secret sauce is actually collaboration. And also that we're not just handing over cash. We're creating startups together with the researchers. So that we are creating the startups, that we are providing more than cash, and of course our partnerships, collaborations, syndicate investors, mentorships, and network and open doors. So I think that we are actually, and of course Chalmers Technical University, the resources that they have created, this Chalmers School of Entrepreneurship that supports us with entrepreneurs that we can match with our researchers. We're actually a family that celebrates this success together, I think.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so maybe for the audience who are people in corporate venturing, in CVCs, or thinking about it, how would you say is the best way to engage with you, and what do you find most valuable so that they know how to approach you?
I think everything that contributes to our portfolio company's development is then we are open for collaboration. And we are open. We are on LinkedIn. We have our portfolio is on our website, chalmersventures.com. Current portfolio. You can scroll through all the companies in our portfolio right now. We have 100 companies. And that's what we see more and more of our syndicate partner does, and then they reach out to us when they see a venture that might match what they are looking for, and we start collaborations. And we also have this venture day in November every year where we invite our partner syndicate partners. It's really popular. So last year we had this waiting list, and I think it's already a waiting list for November this year.
Oh, wow.
So it's incredible. I think that there is so much interest around our portfolio companies. And I think it's because they have this high quality and they are actually addressing pressing problems in the world with revolutionary new technology. And I think that's what the world is looking for right now.
More and more so, which is a good.
Yeah.
And so for these CVCs who come and check your portfolio and wants to engage with you, is there any special benefits that you can bring to that partnership?
I think that we are close to the companies that we have worked with for many years with so many companies. We have this experience to work with deep tech startups, and also knowledge around the Swedish system and how we can benefit from this professor's privilege that we talked about, and so I think the knowledge and also our experience to this matchmaking progress. I know Metze, when I talked to Metze Spring, they said it's the best team we have ever seen.
Right.
And I think this mix with researchers and entrepreneurs, and it stands out.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Maybe a question. I mean, 100 portfolio companies, this is a lot of companies.
Yeah.
And I think your team size is about 20, if I'm not...
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So that's a lot to do for a small team. So how do you manage? Maybe you can share some of your learnings leading this organization to be so effective.
Yeah, so we are really active at the start, the creating of the company. And then we always syndicate with others, and we have we have to partner with others because we can't solve it ourselves. We can't develop all these companies ourselves. We are dependent on this collaboration with other syndicators and partners.
Very
and
nice.
Also, since we can follow on up to Series A, of course, we are not as involved when the companies are scaling. We are not as involved as in the beginning.
Yeah. But of course, they stay within your alumni group. So if you can help them, doesn't matter how advanced they are.
No, they can be already listed companies, for example.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So what's your advice to the corporate venture capital entities seeking to engage with these startups?
I think it's like a tech tango. CVCs bring the industry groove while startups flaunt their tech moves. It's a match made in innovation heaven, I think. So startups gain resources and insights, and CVCs get tech sparks. So both parties dance towards success. So I think dive deep, no pun intended, understand their tech, imagine it's a puzzle and grasp every piece, and also engage founders in chats, see their vision, check if their tech aligns with your vibes, and maybe most important, remember, it's a partnership, not a transaction.
Very nice. And so once the CVC has understood this critical starting point of the technology potential, what's the next steps you would recommend?
Once the CVC have a solid understanding of the technology, the next step is to access the startup's team, their capabilities, and their execution strategy, and also evaluate the startup's traction and achievements, such as prototypes, partnerships, or pilot projects. Understand their market potential, competitive landscape, and the value propositions that they offer. It's important to align these factors with your corporate objectives, and also determine how your resources can accelerate their journey.
Actually, talking about resources accelerating the journey, it's very operational. So what would you advise on the operational side?
I think be the mentor friend.
Mentor friend.
Yeah, assign a go-to person.
Nugget.
And assign a go-to person. Open doors to your corporate perks. Stay in touch. See their progress. It's like helping a plant grow. Nurture it, and it will bloom, I think.
Very nice. So this mentorship, it's also about empowering the startups. So what would be your advice in terms of CVC striking the right balance between nurturing innovations, but also managing risk? Because at the end, there's a huge amount of risk when it's so early stage in the technology.
It's like spinning plates. So I think you need to encourage calculated risks, like a scientist, and also you need to celebrate learnings from failures, because you always fails. It never goes like the plan. And set clear milestones, but understand that there will be failures. So innovation and risk reduction in harmony, and dance with innovation while not tripping on risk.
Okay. I want to actually ask a question which is Sweden, but probably Nordic. I think it's country specific, especially if you look at US, Asia, and Europe. How is failure taken? Is it seen positively nowadays, or is it still having a stigma?
I think the stigma is more and more fading out in Sweden. It sure was, if I just go back 5-10 years, I think it was really a stigma. But I think it's fading out. Actually, one of our entrepreneurs in Adsorbi that I mentioned before, she made a journey together with us before that failed, and we got up on the horse together again, and this time she learned so much from the other journey, and I think she's one of the best entrepreneurs we have in our portfolio right now.
Yeah, I think the journey in the past and everything you've learned, including failures, could lead to really good entrepreneurship afterwards.
Yeah, I think so too.
So now I want to distinguish between deep tech startups and research-based deep tech startup. Do you have like a checklist that you could share, or like a really nice checklist of things that VCs and CVCs should consider?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's break it down. There are the nuts and bolts, and then there the heart of it. So here's what the syndicated VCs and CVCs that we work with usually look at. It's the basics. Tech excellence. Is the technology solid, groundbreaking, and scalable? That's the first question. And of course, the market potential. Is there a real need for the tech and a substantial market to tap into? And intellectual property. Are patents and IP well protected and owned? Team competence. Does the team have the right expertise to drive this forward? And financial health. Are the numbers adding up and the business model viable? And then it's beyond the numbers. I think maybe that's the most important. Collaboration fit. Can your teams work well together and share expertise? I think this is even more important for CVCs. And also the long-term vision. Do both sides align on the future journey? Adaptability. Can the startup handle challenges and pivot when needed? Because I would say 99% of our startups pivot, and you have to have that capability. And communication. Is there transparency and open communication between teams? And cultural alignment. Do your values and goals mesh well for a successful partnership? I think there is where I see the most failures, when the cultural doesn't fit. So the first part is the checklist everyone expects, the logical foundations, and then the second part is it's where the heart and soul come into play, and I think it's in the softer but crucial factors that often make or break a venture. What's your experience?
Well, actually, let me first double click, because I think your checklist is very logical, and I like the focus on team and people and culture. Now, one thing you didn't say, and I think it's probably because from Sweden it's probably granted, but you haven't mentioned the value of diversity when investing in early stage. Can you talk a little bit about how you think about it?
I think you need to have the best team you can have in a startup, of course, when it comes to competence and also different backgrounds. And then you have to fish in the whole pond. You can't just fish in the half of the pond, because then you can't get the best fishes. So I think a diverse team creates a stronger startup, and the success rates are they are higher with a diverse team.
Because earlier we talked about matching the ideas with matching the entrepreneurs. But it's not just one entrepreneur. You're looking at a team that's going to actually outperform just because of how they are composed. And maybe you can share some best practices about not just matching the idea with the entrepreneurs, but how it's the right team.
And I think we look at both gender, of course, but also age, technical expertise, business expertise, international experience. I think you need to have different backgrounds and different competence in the team to get, as I mentioned, to get the strongest team. So we'll look at all these different aspects when we create the team. And sometimes it's all the same gender, but it's still quite different backgrounds and different ages, and so I think we need to look for more than just gender. That I think it's the most common that we talk about, and that's good, of course, but we need to see the whole picture, I think
gender is, of course, the one that's more obvious, and as research proving better outcome when you do have diversity, but diversity of thoughts come from so many different backgrounds, education, countries, culture.
I think so too.
Very nice. Now I also want, so we talked about the entrepreneurs. One thing you haven't mentioned, but of course this is early stage, is you join the board, which means you probably bring a level of coaching, but also governance, which is so foreign sometimes for the researchers. And do you have any best practices about how you introduce governance in the right way for such an early stage companies?
Yeah, we struggle with this because I think in the beginning, the startup and both the researchers and the entrepreneur thinks this governance is really wasted time, and maybe they see the benefits of it after 5 years, when they are up and running, and everything is in order, and the financial rounds goes so much smoother, and also when you're planning for an exit and everything is already there, then they see the benefit. That's why you made us do this awful work in the beginning of our startup. But it's a struggle in the beginning to try to get them to see the benefits, why we are preparing them for the future.
Well, first, thank you for the candid answer. And maybe you can give a tip or two about how you convince them about the value, because your struggle is a struggle of everyone. So maybe you can share a few tips.
I think the best way is to give examples of earlier struggles, and how the other startups really have feedback to us after several years, and I think that feedback to share it with the early startups, I think that's the best. Or if it comes directly from older scale-up companies in our portfolio who explains for the early startups why it's good to get this in place early.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, earlier in the interview, you talked about the treasure chest you accumulated from going through the ups and downs. Can you share maybe how this treasure chest is so valuable for today in your current role? Because clearly we're just moving from a long period of ups to a period of down. And so that experience is likely very valuable.
I think so. I think you don't get as stressed as if you've never been there before. You know, it's another period, and it will pass. And also how sometimes you need to downsize your company. You need to and if you're a leader that never has done that before, of course it's really hard. But if you've done it a couple of times, and you know, it's part of the leadership and part of the journey sometimes. So I think that experience right now is really valuable. We have these young entrepreneurs in the world who's never had a recession, and I think, and that's also why I think it's good to have different ages in the teams, because then you've been experienced different periods when it comes to recession or cycles, economic cycles.
I really like your answer. And one more thing I want to ask you from your introduction was, you mentioned your lucky twists along your journey. Can you share maybe one of these lucky twists which you find useful today?
Wow, I think timing is one of my lucky twists, and of course you can never. I think many entrepreneurs who have failed are great entrepreneurs, and sometimes it's just the wrong timing. And I think sometimes you're lucky and you get the right timing, and I think you have to have experienced both failures and successes, and then you understand it's not always my fault that it fails. It might be the wrong timing, and you don't take it as hard as if you never experienced the success, and you understand that it wasn't because of me, this success, it was because of the timing.
And I think that's another golden nugget, and I think it helped develop empathy towards these entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think so too. If you've been there yourself and you've been through both failures and success, you understand what the entrepreneurs are going through.
Very nice. So my last question for today is, what's next for Chalmers Ventures? How do you want to evolve it and contribute even more?
Wow. So we want to build a really strong engine, as I mentioned, and we are already on our way. So I think to build it even stronger, and also to contribute to the research in Sweden. I think if we get this really brilliant researchers in Sweden, we can build really brilliant ventures that can contribute to solving the world's problems. So that's our mission and our future.
And maybe more CVC partners.
Yeah, of course. That's the key. I think that's really the key for the kind of companies that we are working with. Deep tech companies are, I think CVCs are a key to their success. So definitely more CVC partners.
Perfect. Sara, thank you very much for today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And let's venture together.
Thank you.